How are you this morning? Yeah, that's Branco in your midst again to deliver to you cumulative frequency. Cumulative frequency is going to be our topic for today. So let's focus on cumulative frequency. Cumulative frequency. So we are going to focus on cumulative frequency this morning. When we talk about cumulative frequency, you are going to look at the graph of the cumulative frequency. You are also complete a table for cumulative frequency, and then you will be asked many more questions, which we are going to look at it right now. So on a cumulative frequency, we're going to focus on this question paper from Limpopo in 2016, which talks about a question. A company has 132 employees in their Polokwane branch. The distance S in kilometers which they travel to work each day is summarized in the following frequency table. So they give you the distance in kilometers and the frequency on the other side of the table. The distance starts from 5 less than x less than or equals to 10, and it ends at 30 less than x less than or equals to 35. In each of these distances, they give you the frequency. Okay, so now the questions that the examiner asked was 1.1, determine the estimated mean distance covered by the employees. So here, learners, you are supposed to determine what we call the estimated mean distance covered by the employees. And I believe you must observe what I'm going to do quickly. You take your calculator and then you press the on button. And then if you are calculating estimated mean, let's focus on estimated mean. It's very important. Estimated mean, which is still your x bar. What do we do with the calculator in order to find the estimated mean? You will quickly find your x values, and then you also get your frequency as well in order to get your estimated mean. You need to get your x values and the frequency. Now x is in between certain intervals, like from 5 to 10. So in order to get the x values, you just quickly take your calculator and say 5 plus 10, then you divide it by 2. So this gives you 15. 15 over 2 is 7,5. That is the first x value that you get. Then you get to the second column there. It says 10 plus 15, and then you divide it by 2. 10 plus 15 is 25, and 25 divided by 2 is 12.5. 12,5. So you go to the next one to get x. That is the first thing you do. You have to first get the x values before we come to talk about estimated mean. Okay, so here you'll be having 15 plus 20 divided by 2. 15 plus 20 is 35, and 35 divided by 2 is 17,5. So you capture it like that. 35 divided by 2 is 17.5. And then now the next one we will be getting will be 20 plus 25 divided by 2, which gives us 45. So when you divide 45 by 2, your answer is going to give you 22,5. That is the next x value. And the next one that we go to is by adding the last numbers there in the last row, which says 30 plus 35 divided by 2. That's how we get the x value. So quickly you take your calculator, you add the lower boundary and the upper boundary, and you divide by 2 to get the x values. The lower boundary in this here is 5, the upper boundary is 10. So you add the lower and the upper together and divide by 2 to get the x values. So that is how you do it. So 30 plus 35 now is 65. Then you divide 65 by 2. It gives you 32. 65 divided by 2. Let's check quickly. 65 divided by 2 give you 32. It gives you 32, 5. So that's where we are. I hope I also did 25 plus 30. 25 plus 30, right? We didn't do it. So let's quickly look for 25 plus 30 divided by 2, which gave you 55. And 55 divided by 2 is 27,5. So that one should come before this one. Make sure you capture the data as it is. We have 27,5. You can see it's increasing by 5 units. And then from here we go to 32,5. These are the x values. How many data sets are there? We can see from the frequency 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's see our x 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That tells you we are doing the right thing. So to get the x values, you always add the interval that is given to you on the distance column, which is 5 and 10. You add it because we are dealing with the group data. So when we are dealing with the group data, that is how we go about our work. So I believe we have understood how to find our, how to find our x. So now we have x down. Now what we need is to use our calculator quickly and get to the estimated mean without any hassle. So to write or to find the estimated mean, you quickly take your calculator and then you press Shift and then you followed by mode. So we press the Shift button followed by mode. So it's Shift followed by mode. So you go to Shift mode and then a lot of information comes on the screen. You scroll down and choose option number 3. Option number 3, which has written the stats in terms of statistics. So it's Shift mode option number 3. Then you press your 3. When you press your 3, now what comes on the screen is they are asking you a question, says frequency. You have to set the calculator. Do you want to set the calculator in a frequency mode? Then the answers there are only 2. On the frequency or off the frequency. So when you are going to on the frequency is option number 1. So you choose option number 1. So when you press option number 1, then everything disappears from the screen of the calculator. There will be nothing there except the 0 that you see down there. So that is how you set the calculator in a frequency mode. Now you are going to look for your estimated mean. So now you press your mode again. So here again, press mode. When you press mode, you choose option number 2. So when you press mode now, you choose option number 2, which says stats. Mean is part of variance. So you are going to choose now option number 1. So it's mode 2, option number 1. So when you press 1, then it will open the calculator for you like this. It will give you X and it will give you frequency. So the calculator now will open like this. Sorry, it will open like this. It's X here, and here it is written frequency, like that. So now you are now going to capture the frequency table. You can see there on the screen that the frequency has been given. So our first frequency number is 12. So here you capture the X values. Now because already you have the table for X. So it's 7,5, then you press equal sign, it will come here. 12,5, you press equal sign, it comes here. 17,5, you press equal sign up to 32,5. You press your equal sign and you capture the X value. So for the X values, you have to find a number and keep it. When you set your calculator in the frequency mode, then you capture X in the frequency numbers. So when you are capturing the frequency numbers, you press 12, equal sign, then it will come here. Then you press 29, then you press equal sign, then it will come to this. 48, then you press equal sign. And then 27, you press equal sign. 13, you go equal sign, and 3, equal sign. So after you have captured this information on the calculator, then you press your AC. So let's deal with the number 7,5. 7,5 equal sign. 12,5 equal sign. 17,5, press your equal sign. 22,5, press equal sign. 27,5, you press your equal sign. And then 32,5, you press your equal sign. After you have captured up to the 6 data, you go to up again, and then you go to this column and capture the data there. So it's 12 equal sign, 29, I'm capturing it because I want the answers, equal sign, 48, then you press equal sign, 27, press your equal sign, 13, you press your equal sign, and then 3, you press your equal sign. So now the data has been captured. Then now to store it, we simply press our AC, like I've always been saying, that to store the information, we must press AC. So now I'm going to press AC, and then I've pressed my AC, and everything has vanished from the calculator. I'm looking for estimated mean. So now I can take off this and go and look for my estimated mean. So to look for your answers all the time, you press Shift button, and then you press 1. Option number 1 on the calculator like this, it is written there, start. So when you press Shift, you press 1. Then now you can choose your answer. Shift 1. Now it tells you a lot of things on the screen. We are dealing with variance, VAR, because mean is part of it. So when you choose option number 4, in my calculator is option number 4. I don't know what appears on your screen. So you choose VAR, option number 4. And then now we are calculating mean. So which is option number 2, X bar, like this. So when you choose it, then you press equal sign. So you press 2, and then you press equal sign. And our mean, therefore, our X bar is equals to 17,84. You leave it to 2 decimal places, 17,84. So that is how we calculate our mean distance covered by the employees. So grade 12, you need to familiarize yourself with how to use the calculator. Set the calculator in a frequency mode by pressing on Shift mode, and then you scroll down to option number 3, like I said, and then you choose start, and then it will ask you frequency with a question mark. Then you say yes by pressing 1. That means you are on the frequency, so you put it on, and then it will open a table for you for X and Y. X and frequency. Frequency is given, but X is not given. You can find X from the intervals that has been given to you. You just take the lower boundary and add it to the upper boundary, which in this case I said 5 plus 10, then you divide by 2. You do that throughout, and then you capture it with the frequency. Store to AC. When you store to AC, now you look for your answer by pressing Shift 1, and then you choose variance, and then option number, when you choose the variance, which is option number 4 on that calculator, now you press it, and then it will also give you options, and then you choose option number 2, which is the mean. Then you write it down. So that is good. Our mean is 17,4. In the same way, you can look for your standard deviation. I don't know if the question asks you about standard deviation, so you don't need to go back. Look for it and write it somewhere. So if the question asks you standard deviation, you just write it down. So here it says determine, good. The question is asking the same thing I'm asking. Determine the standard deviation for the data to 2 decimal places. So now we have captured the data in the frequency mode. So you go to Shift 1 again, where you find your mean, the same approach, Shift 1 and choose 4, variance, and the standard deviation is number 3. Our standard deviation is number 3. So standard deviation is option number 3. So when you are looking for the answers, that's how you do. So question says standard deviation. So this is 1.1. Guys, when you write mean is 17,84, the examiner will give you all the marks. It's 3 marks. Calculator answer is allowed. Because before you get the answer, you go through the whole process, and then it brings you down. But you don't need to write all the process down. Just write the calculator answer, and it's 3 marks. Now, standard deviation is the same thing. So now, our standard deviation now is given like this, and so it's option number 3. You press your 3 and press your equal sign, and our standard deviation is 5,88. They said leave it to 2 decimal places. It was 5,877, but remember 7 is more than 4 in terms of after the decimal place. So you shift it 1 unit backwards to this other 7 to make it 88, 2 decimal place. So that's what you get. That is our standard deviation for 1.2. The next question would ask you to draw the ogive. The ogive is the same as the cumulative frequency curve. The ogive is the same as the cumulative frequency curve. So now that we know how to calculate our estimated mean and our standard deviation from a group data, this is not raw data like we give you 20, 30, 35, whatever. Here they have grouped the data to tell you that between 5 and 10, there were 12 people or 12 whatever that traveled that kilometers to school. Between 10 kilometers to 15 kilometers, there were 29 people who traveled that kilometers to school. So this is what we call group data. So it's different from what we have been doing in the previous presentation. So take note of that. Now we are going to learn how to draw the ogive or the ogive using that data that is available. So we can clean off our mean and our standard deviation, or let us keep it somewhere. I don't know if we are going to be asked question again. Our mean x bar is equals to 17,84. Our standard deviation, which is 1.2, this is 1.1, 1.2. Our standard deviation is equals to 5,88 to 2 decimal places as requested by the question.